For companies, they are proving to be a highly effective tool to communicate information. Similarly, celebrities like Amitabh Bachchan and Amir Khan write blogs that film writers watch closely because they provide useful information. They have become a smart way to communicate with fans and the media. However, it must be remembered that it is not easy to sustain a blog. The blogger must come up with fresh and original information that others want to read. One reason for the huge popularity of blogs is the ease with which they can be created. There are no special skills required to create a blog. Also, there is no cost involved in setting up a blog. There are several blog providers on the net, but the most popular are WordPress.com and Blogger.com. These two blog providers are internet giants in their own rights. They have made it possible for millions of individuals to create blogs for free. You too can use them to set up your own blog. All that you need is a valid email address. After that, you can visit either WordPress or Blogger and click on the link Create Your Blog. This will open a page where you will be asked to fill your username, the name of the blog you want to create, and a password. The blog provider will scan its database to check if the login name or email address given by you is being used by any other individual. If these are unique, a verification link will be sent to the email address given by you. Otherwise, you will be asked to provide another email address or choose another login name. This way, the blog providers ensure that you are the sole owner of your blog. Once you click on the verification link to establish your identity, the blog provider will give you access to the administrative area of your blog, which is popularly known as admin area. This entire process is fully automated, and in less than 5 minutes, you can become the proud owner of a blog. All that you need to do now is to create content and publish it on your blog for the world to read, share, and comment upon. It is that simple. You can also use Indian blog providers to create your blog. The 5 most popular Indian blog providers are Rediff.com, Sifi.com, IndiaTimes.com, Sulekha.com, and BigAdda.com. Blogging is no longer limited to English. Most blog providers like WordPress, Blogger, or Rediff provide blogging facilities in 10 or more Indian languages. You too can take advantage of this and create your blog in your own language. The following are the important features of a blog. 1. Web address. Each blog has a unique web address. This address is created by the program after an individual enters the blog name. For instance, a blogger wants the name of his blog to be My Blog. WordPress will check if this name has been allotted to any other blogger. If it has not been allotted, then it will create the following web address: http://myblog.wordpress.com. The blog can be accessed by anyone, anywhere in the world by typing this web address. 2. Web space. WordPress provides 3 GB of free space to every blogger who opens an account with it. This is enough web space to create millions of text articles and post thousands of photographs. Bloggers who want to post audio or video files have to buy space. 3. Admin area. The heart of each blog is the admin area. It is a full-fledged content management system. The blogger can post stories, modify stories, add photographs, delete stories, archive stories, create categories, assign keywords, decide look and feel of the blog, etc. The great thing about the admin area is that it is extremely user friendly and it does not take much time for a new blogger to understand how it works. 4. Content window. The front end of a blog has a content window. This is where the blog posts are displayed. The postings are in reverse chronological order, with the last post being displayed first. This ensures that old content is pushed lower down on the page and the latest post is displayed prominently on the top for visitors to browse. 5. Archives. The blogs provide for archiving of content. The archiving can be done on weekly, monthly, or yearly basis. It can be done on the basis of categories too. In either case, content once posted on the blog is stored in neat folders and can be retrieved with ease. 6. Comment box. Each blog post has a comment box where the visitors can leave their reactions. The blog owner can moderate these comments, even delete them if he considers them mischievous or malicious. 7. Subscriber feed. The visitors have the option to subscribe to the blog feed. This is a useful facility because subscribers get to know of every new blog post in their feed readers without visiting the blog. They can then decide to visit the blog, to read the full post, or ignore the new post. 8. Blog roll. This is another important feature of blogs. The blog owners use this feature to showcase blogs that they like. 9. Plugins or widgets. The plugins or widgets allow blog owners to pull content from other sources. For instance, a blog provider can use the weather widget to enable visitors to learn about weather conditions. Similarly, the astrology widget can showcase forecasts. These are value additions that enhance site stickiness. 10. Themes. The blog providers have developed scores of themes. These themes define the look and feel of a blog and can be installed at the click of a button. The blogger has the option to change the themes at any point of time. 11. Permalink. Each blog post, when it is published, is assigned a web address. This web address is called a permalink because it is a permanent URL of the blog post. Any blog user can retrieve the post or direct a visitor to the blog post by using the permalink. 12. Categories. The blogger can arrange or organize content in distinct folders called categories. For instance, a blogger on media can store TV articles under television category, radio articles under radio category, and newspaper articles under print category. The blogger can even create subcategories, making storage and retrieval of content easy. 13. Tags. Blogs also allow the searching of blog posts using tags or keywords. The keywords are assigned before the blog post is published. This makes it possible for visitors to locate articles of interest by inputting keywords in the search box. The keywords also make it easier for search engines to index articles. 14. Search box. Each blog is equipped with search facility. All that the blogger needs to do is to activate the search box and position it at a prominent place on the page. The visitors can then search the blog by entering keywords in the search box. It is easy to set up a blog, but very difficult to get visitors. Even if you get visitors, it is not easy to ensure that they come back. So, what do you do to become a successful blogger? You must learn to create posts that are easy to read. 4 popular blogging styles that bloggers have developed are: 1. List posts. In this style of blogging, the blogger organizes information in short and snappy points. For instance, a doctor who does hair transplant may write on 5 hair transplant techniques, 7 precautions to take when going for a hair transplant, 7 dangers of hair transplant, 11 precautions to take after hair transplant, etc. 2. Instruction posts. This style of blogging is most suited for those bloggers who wish to share or pass knowledge. For instance, a newspaper editor may want to give practical tips to students of journalism. He may explain the art of writing a headline, the process of selecting news reports, the points that must be kept in mind while cropping photographs, etc. Such posts build a loyal following over a period of time. 3. Comparison posts. Bloggers spend considerable time collecting information about products like cars, mobile phones, laptops, refrigerators, etc. They then post this information on their blogs in the form of charts, making it easy for visitors to compare prices of mobile phones, features, promotional schemes, etc. 4. Review posts. This is another popular form of blog writing. However, the success of such blogs depends upon how well the blogger knows a subject. For instance, a blogger who reviews new cars should be well informed about cars and be able to publish blog posts that are informative, objective, and technically sound. Blog headlines are much more important than newspaper or magazine headlines. This is because, unlike the print headlines, the blog headlines are written to serve 2 masters. The first master obviously is the individuals who visit the blog. They will read the blog only if they find the headline exciting enough to open the blog post. Dead headlines are unlikely to excite the curiosity of the visitors, and the chances are that the visitor may move to another blog. The second master is the search engine. The blog headline must have keywords that the search engine will index and store in its database. Ideally, these keywords should be those that are being searched. A good place to find the popular search words is Google AdWords Keywords page. This is a free service that Google provides. All that you need to do is to test the popularity of keywords that best reflect the content of your blog post. The Google tool will generate data of the searches made for the keyword and related keywords. You can then suitably tweak the blog headline. Every day, millions of words are posted on blogs. WordPress estimates that on its site, bloggers post 15 million words every day. WordPress, incidentally, is only one of the scores of blog providers that provide free blogging service. So you can imagine how many blog posts go up on the net every minute. Your blog post is like the proverbial needle in the haystack, a grain of sand on the seashore. How does a visitor find it? To be a successful blogger, you need to observe the following do's and don'ts. 1. You should blog on one subject only. Don't make the mistake of writing on everything under the sun. Your blog will lack focus and the visitors will be confused. A single subject blog invariably leads to a dedicated following. 2. Your blog should be on a subject you know. Never make the mistake of recycling content. The chances are that people would have already read that content elsewhere and they will ignore your posting. The most valued content is that which is original. 3. Do not overreach yourself. It is better to write one good post a week than 3 average posts a day. 4. Make sure that you maintain a schedule. You may write once a day, twice or thrice a week, or even once a week. But make sure that your blog post goes up on that day, if possible at a fixed point of the day. This will give reason to visitors to land at your blog on those specific days when they expect fresh content to be available. 5. Cut out the I's from your blog. The most boring blogs are those where the bloggers tell you that I have done this, I have knowledge of this. The best blogs are those that use the conversational tone. They are written in the second person and are informal. 6. You must build a loyal following. And a good way to do this is to encourage your visitors to subscribe to your blog feed. Make sure that you position the RSS feed logo prominently. You should also put it at the end of each blog post so that it is noticed and the visitors may enter their subscription details. The RSS feed is not the only subscription tool available to you. You can also advise your visitors to subscribe to your newsletter. 7. You must provide for a user-friendly experience to your visitors. This can be achieved by using a design template which is easy on the eye and where the visitor can locate interesting content easily. You must make sure that the search box is placed prominently on your blog and there is a proper contact page which gives information about you. 8. You must not hide information about yourself. You must let the visitors know who you are by publishing an About Me page. This will give them confidence that the blog is being written by a person who knows the subject. 9. You must showcase your best posts. This decision need not be subjective, but should be based on statistics. You should use the blog admin area to find out which posts have been read the most. The headlines of these posts should then be displayed prominently so that the new visitors get to know about them. 10. You must assign keywords judiciously. Your blog post will start figuring in search engine results if the keywords match search words. 11. You should be careful in the number of items you post on your blog. Your visitor has come to read what you have written. Don't ask him to click on ads or visit affiliate marketing links or recommend you to his friends. This may distract the visitor, and the primary purpose of bringing a visitor to your blog will be lost. There are 4 easy ways to popularize your blog. The first is to get your blog listed on blog search engines. The obvious choice is Google Blog Search. Once you do this, the Google bot starts visiting your blog and indexing its content. The other search engines where you should list your blog is Bloglines, Blogdex, and Blogpulse. The second way to popularize your blog is to list your blog on Indian blog directories. When you do so, your blog will start getting noticed by bloggers who blog on the same subject. The popular Indian blog directories are labnol.org, indieblogger.in, and blogs.oneindia.in. The third way is to integrate your blog with social networking sites like Facebook.com, Twitter.com, and GoogleCircles.com. When you do this, your every new blog post gets simultaneously published on these social networking sites. It can then get promoted by your friends who are members of these sites or picked up by search engines who regularly spider these sites. Either way, the reach of your blog post goes up. The fourth way is to catch the attention of fellow bloggers. You can achieve this by adopting the following 6-point strategy. 1. Make a list of blogs that you like most. These blogs should be related to the subject on which you blog. 2. List these blogs on your blog roll. In case the number of these blogs is more than 10, then create a separate page called your favorite blogs and list them there. 3. Subscribe to the RSS feeds of your favorite blogs. When you do so, the bloggers who have set up these blogs will notice you. 4. Comment on as many fresh posts that your fellow bloggers publish. The comments should not be frivolous but substantial. Make sure that your comments end with your blog address. 5. Try and create posts on points mentioned in the blog posts of your fellow bloggers. These posts should be original and not a rehash of what has been posted by your fellow bloggers. They should carry the trackback URL of your fellow bloggers. This will make them aware of your postings, and a few may visit your blog to check what you have written out of interest. 6. Wait patiently for at least 6 months. After that, send an email request asking your fellow bloggers to list you on their blog roll. The chances are that quite a few of them may accept your request, especially if they find you are a worthwhile blogger. Once this happens, you will become a part of the blogging community that so far you have admired from a distance. In this episode, you learned what is a blog and how the term blog came into existence. You were explained the process of creating a blog, important features of a blog, and the points you should keep in mind while writing blog headlines. You learned the important do's and don'ts of blogging and the measures you should take to popularize your blog. We hope that this episode will help you set up your very own blog. Those who do have their own blogs can use the points given today to make their blogs even more popular. Thank you, and see you soon with another informative episode. Goodbye.
Welcome friends. All knowledge, as they say, is one. We divide it into streams and disciplines only to compensate the inadequacies of a human mind, because human mind is too weak to understand knowledge in totality. Of many innumerable branches and disciplines of knowledge, there is one that deals ostensibly with numbers, with calculations, with computations. Having said that, there is only one word that needs to be spelt out, and that word is mathematics. When we utter the word mathematics, we are pushed into a world where we see all problem solving, logic, and nothing else. But this is not the matter of the fact. The fact is that we are driven towards not the method and the mask of mathematics, but the mystique and the philosophy of mathematics on the whole. In our today's discussion, we'll be talking about mathematics, that breathtaking, fascinating subject for our students. And we have invited in our studio a celebrated mathematician, a noted academic, Professor M.A. Sophie, Professor of Mathematics from University of Kashmir. Sir, we welcome you in our studio.
Pleasure.
And as they say, it's always safe to begin at the beginning. And we begin with this simplest possible question, that where from have we got this term mathematics? What's its origin, so that our students can comprehend the nature of the subject?
Well, I always find it more difficult to talk about mathematics than mathematics itself. So talking about mathematics entails its philosophy, its raison d'etre, its relevance, and things like that. Regarding the term mathematics, it invariably deals with numbers, but the definition of mathematics has changed over the centuries, over a period of time. You see, during the Egyptian and Babylonian times, mathematics used to be dealing with numbers only. And then with the Greeks, from say 500 BC to 300 AD, the Greeks ruled the roost in mathematics, and then mathematics dealt mostly with figures, with shapes in the form of geometry which they created. And ever since, it has been changing with times, and at the moment what we know of mathematics is a science which deals with patterns of different kinds, patterns that you can witness in the number system, patterns that you encounter in various designs, in shapes, in configurations. So there is essentially a kind of agreement among the mathematicians that mathematics ought to be looked upon as a science of patterns.
So it's not exclusively about numbers and figures as we in our common day parlance assume it to be, but it deals with the patterns, the logical pattern of the things.
Absolutely.
So about the etiology of the word, that mathematics, can we split it into two, like all logis or all branches of knowledge?
I don't think
what
so.
What does it mean?
Is it because like biology or microbiology and things like that, these are of a more recent vintage. So these words have been coined by attaching meanings to the various syllables constituting that word. That doesn't quite apply to the word mathematics.
No. We say that there is applied mathematics and then there is pure mathematics. For our students, it's a must that they must know and understand the difference between the two as to what is applied and what is pure mathematics.
You see, personally, I don't look at mathematics as diversified or divided into pure and applied mathematics. Basically, it's a search for beauty, that drives a mathematician in his work on mathematics. Essentially, a search for beauty inevitably and ultimately leads to a body of mathematics that's useful in our understanding of the world around us, of the cosmos in which we see the physical phenomena unfolding. So essentially and basically, it's a search for beauty. And to that extent, the kind of mathematics that we do or we end up doing can be branded or classified as pure mathematics. But the moment someone wants to apply these methods, these techniques, these theorems, these results in diverse areas of human activity, it could be the physical world, the biological world, or even the sociological world. So when he applies his mathematical techniques there to have a better understanding of things, then we say, I mean, we roughly say that he is an applied mathematician, or he is doing applied mathematics. So basically it's pure mathematics all the way. You see, I can cite any number of examples where the driving force behind a mathematician has been search for beauty. You see, the Greeks really excelled in this art. Greeks did geometry for its own sake, for the sake of knowledge. And to me, it's very surprising that their theory of so-called conic sections, which constitutes what's called Euclidean geometry, this turned out to be the language which was used by Copernicus centuries later in his understanding of the solar system. So it was he who proved or showed that the Earth revolves around the Sun in an orbit which is elliptical. So ellipse was a mathematical object or a geometrical object which was discovered and studied very extensively by the Greeks, being completely unaware of its of the possibility of its applications later. And similarly, there is something called non-Euclidean geometry, right? I can explain to you, and I mean, it's a very simple statement. If in the plane of the blackboard you have a straight line and a point lying outside of it, then from this point you can draw exactly one line which is parallel to the given line. I mean, that's easy to do. You can do it. So this was taken as an axiom. You see, the Greeks, they wondered whether you could prove it by means of other postulates of Euclidean geometry. Later it was shown by several mathematicians, including one Lobachevsky, Bolia, and even Gauss from Germany, that it cannot be proved. You have to, in fact, accept it as an independent axiom. Yes. And that was a great idea, which resulted in the creation of what's called non-Euclidean geometry. So to this extent, it was still a very pure mathematical construct, an abstract object. Lo and behold, later when Einstein created his general theory of relativity, which has revolutionized physics of the 20th century, it was this non-Euclidean geometry that was used there as a main mathematical tool.
Sir, breaking that parochial shell, the way we present mathematics to our students, it creates a kind of aversion and a kind of intimidation in a student that it's a world that's so convoluted and complicated with numbers and figures only. My question is that how can mathematics as a subject, as a discipline, be made as a part of big human endeavor? Like, let it be a part of an endeavor like dance, like music, or like literature. But normally we see that literature, mathematics, and poetry are all poles apart. Do you see a meeting point, a point where all those subjects converge, where mathematics really is presented as a subject of beauty?
The bottom line is that all knowledge is one. Whether it comes from physics, it comes from mathematics, it comes from life sciences, all knowledge is one. It only needs tremendous amounts of human ingenuity to decipher and unravel these connections. They are very much there, lurking in the shadows. You know, certain connections connecting, certain links connecting mathematics with, say, law or social sciences or international law. The links are already there, but it's a matter of time before one is able to see those links. In the realm of physics, it has already been achieved to a large extent. You see, what really surprises me is that something that was created in mathematics, say, 60, 70 years ago, physicists 60 years down the line find applications of those mathematical principles in their theories of the universe. This non-Euclidean geometry is a case in point. So it was invented years ago, and then as a pure mathematical construct, as I said, and then later applied by Einstein in his theory of relativity. So such examples are innumerable.
So let's talk about the claim which logicists hold about mathematics, that this is indispensable to all empirical sciences. So how can we explain the need of having a separate and independent discipline as mathematics if it runs in the blood of every subject? That means, like language is the part, an inseparable, insustainable part of any other subject. Is mathematics the same part? Or if it is, then how can it be seceded and brought forth as an independent subject?
It's very much so. It is part of, it's supposed to be a part of the curricula which every student, whether of science or of arts, is supposed to know. You see, look at the stock exchange, for example. It's a very chaotic thing, which is not amenable to certain prognostications. But methods of mathematics have been used of late in our understanding of how the system works, how the market works. The point I want to make is mathematics is indispensable in every walk of life. Why are we not able to do it? Why we are not able to implement it at every level of the curricula? It has to do with what we were saying, aversion towards mathematics, both amongst the teachers as well as the students. You see, unfortunately, you need some preparations in order to understand the basic language of mathematics. You see, I, as an outsider to, say, literature or economics or any other intellectual endeavor, can understand most of the material just by reading through it. There are definitely certain subtleties involved which I may not be able to comprehend, but then in general terms I'll be able to understand what is the crux of the story. But howsoever expert you are in your own subject, you need to have a solid amount of background in order for you to understand even the basics of mathematics. So you need some preparations. It is basically that unwillingness or that inability for you to have a smattering of those basics, that is the main impediment in your understanding of mathematics. At the school level, I would say the main reason responsible for an aversion towards a subject is the presence of teachers who are simply uninspiring. They are not able to, in fact, they don't have the passion for studying the subject, much less radiate that enthusiasm.
Do you mean to say,
students.
sir, that what we lack is the proper presentation of the subject of mathematics?
As I said, charity begins at home. Unless you are thoroughly convinced about what you are doing, you are not going to carry conviction to your pupils, to your students. I mean, you have to be really excited about it. Mathematics is perhaps, it stands apart from other disciplines. You have to be involved in it right, left and center. You have to be deeply involved in it. You have to be very passionate about it. And once the teacher has it, there is no reason why he can't radiate this enthusiasm to the students.
In the students also.
The tragedy is that such teachers are there, very few and far between.
Hope we get such teachers also in the future. Sir, in your earlier, you made a reference in your discussion about geometry. Talking about the traditional philosophy of East and the West, we'll talk about the Greek concept of mathematics, where they would say that 1 is not a number, it's a measuring unit, or 2 is the fundamental notion of a pair, but not a number. So, sir, can we conclude that geometry has preceded mathematics, and in fact geometry provides the base, the fundamental platform for mathematicians to go ahead?
Well, geometry is a very important area in mathematics. It's a very vital subject. It in fact constitutes what's called a core area of mathematics. Greeks had a tendency to geometrize things, but that didn't mean that number as such could not be understood or could not be conceived without reference to its geometrical connotations.
So they would take numbers according to the distance from the center, like a number line. In between there is 0 and minus and plus. You measure numbers according to the distance from the center. So that was geometrizing.
Yeah, I mean, yes.
On the whole.
As I said, all mathematics is one. So they were able to look at numbers from a geometrical point of view. And conversely, and contemporaneously, we understand geometry in terms of numbers.
So going back to Greek philosophy, that Plato was more concerned about ontology and Aristotle more concerned about logic. Going by that very philosophy, we come across this example that mathematics exists beyond physical realities. If mathematical entities are something that can be separable from physical world, how can we approach them? Or where do they exist? Is it a kind of ether? What is the medium of those mathematical entities in which they exist? And how can they be approached?
You see, you have to understand that mathematics is basically the creation of the human mind. It exists up there in the mind, in the head of a mathematician. So it's not something that you can feel with the touch of your hand, or it's not at all a physical quantity. So there's a world, it has a world of its own, which you can feel as a mathematician, but
is it purely abstract?
At a particular level, yes. But then it also reflects, mimics something that you see in your everyday life. The point I want to make is some problems in abstract mathematics which deals with abstract objects, have been motivated by certain considerations in physics. Some developments have taken place in physics of the real world, something as concrete as our
yes, of course, the
Milky
material
Way,
facts.
as our yes. But then people did come across some problems at the physical level, and they provided a lot of grist to the mill of a mathematician. So some problems, some deep, profound problems in mathematics have been inspired by phenomena that we witness in physics, and conversely.
So why is it so that people who have been so engrossed and obsessed with poetry and art and literature, generally speaking, there can be exceptions of course, but mathematics has always been their undoing? Can the reason be same, as you have already spelt out, that there is not a proper presentation of mathematics as a beautiful subject, but what we make of it is just a drab listing of numbers and figures?
You see, unlike literature and poetry, as I said, except in very exceptional cases, you need a lot of training in mathematics. You see, mathematics cannot be expected, cannot be hoped to be understood, much less mastered, without proper training and upbringing. In the case of literature, it could all be, you need some inspiration in literature as well. You need some guidance. But you can be a man of literature, you can write good poetry on your own, except in very exceptional cases, as I said. That cannot happen in mathematics. And when I said exceptional cases, what I have in mind is the examples like that of Srinivasam Ramanujam. He was uninitiated in the formal sense of the term in mathematics. So was the case with Euler, the famous Leonhard Euler, one of the greatest mathematicians.
Or John Nash,
yes,
the man who made a mark in the 20th century.
Absolutely.
So talking about the same, that a beautiful mind like John Nash was presented so beautifully in front of the world that mathematics at once became a subject that could captivate the whole world. Can we set another example of the same, that presenting it in such a graceful way that we would like to opt to mathematics as a complete discipline, a complete stream of subject for our lifetime assignments?
The first thing about mathematics is that you cannot talk about your enthusiasm for mathematics, the kind of results that you are discovering as a mathematician. You cannot communicate it to the first person on the street. You cannot even communicate it to an educated layman, someone who has excelled in his subject as a doctor or as an engineer or as a physicist or as a chemist. It's very difficult to tell him what exactly you are doing. But then this was the story of the story that persisted, say, till the 30s or 40s. The great Hilbert, it's a great name in the world of mathematics, who influenced mathematics like no one else. He would say that one has not mastered a piece of mathematics unless he is able to explain his mathematics to the first person on the street. So that's a very tall order. That's a big ask. It's not really easy to do it. But I think there is a trend these days, there is a campaign going on that mathematicians cannot expect to be left to themselves, they cannot hope to be left to themselves. They need to transfer this enthusiasm to others and communicate their mathematics to others so that people understand what they really are doing.
Now, do you mean to intellectualize or to socialize mathematics as a subject so that it can be the subject of interest for one and all, not for only those specialized few who have got some degrees in the subject?
As I said, that's a very tall order. I mean, it's not, to me, it's not easy to explain mathematics to everybody, but everyone in the modern world has to have a smattering of a reasonably good deal of mathematics. I mean, the kind of mathematics that's taught at the BSc level, up to the BSc level. So this kind of mathematics is the bottom line, which everybody, wherever he wants to initiate himself into, everybody is supposed to know that kind of mathematics. You see, research mathematics is to be distinguished from the kind of mathematics that is a must. That's a must for everybody.
Sir, thank you very much. We discussed many important things about the subject, and many more important things are to be discussed, but they will be done in the second part of our program. As of now, I thank you very much for being with us. So Professor M.A. Sophie, explaining the beauty, the grace of a subject called mathematics, which is not all about numbers and figures, but which is, in fact, the queen of all subjects for the fascination it carries for those who love it and know it. With these words, we take your leave, and we'll be back with the next program with Professor M.A. Sophie. Till then, thank you very much.
I am Parag Agrawal from Mumbai. I won a gold medal at the International Physics Olympiad held in Antalya, Turkey this year. I am a student of Computer Science and Engineering at IIT Bombay. I did my schooling from Atomic Energy Central School. My father is a scientific officer in Bhabha Atomic Research Center, and my mother is a lecturer in Victoria Jubilee Technical Institute. Well, actually, a few years ago, the Maths Olympiad was held in India, maybe 96. So it was, the students were put up very close to my house in our colony. So I saw them going around. I met a couple of them then. And that's when I thought, okay, if I could do something like this, it would be so great. Moreover, later when I was in 11th, I met a few of the people who had been representing India at the Olympiads. One of them had represented twice actually. And he told me, yeah, it's very great. Just you have to work hard and you can do anything possible. And he guided me about the preparation and generally was very helpful about it. In 10th standard itself, I got interested in physics. So I used to study physics offhand, not only the school curriculum, but also due to my interest, I used to study physics. Moreover, I was preparing for JEE during my 11th and 12th. And the preparation of the Olympiad and JEE go hand in hand. So that's basically how I prepared for the Olympiad. And once we were selected to the national phase, that is when we got through the Indian National Physics Olympiad, then we had a rigorous training camp for about 3 weeks. And then that's when we got all the practical exposure that was required for the International Olympiad. On the way to the Olympiad, actually I was very nervous about how I would do and how difficult it would be, how the competition would be. But as soon as we reached there, the environment was great. Everyone was relaxed, having a lot of fun. It was more like a holiday season. Everyone was enjoying. And that relieved my tension. That basically helped me relax. And then the paper was very, very easy compared to the training we had here. I'm only in my first year of engineering as of now. So I've not specifically decided, or actually I cannot decide what my future would be like. But I know whatever I do, I'll enjoy because that's what I'm like. And right now I'm enjoying computer science and engineering, and I think research in computer science and engineering is what my future would be.
the previous 2 episodes, we talked about some basic concepts, the types of reagents and the types of reactions. For the current presentation, we take up the types of organic reactions, which include substitution, addition, elimination, rearrangement, oxidation and reduction. We shall deal with these reactions in some details with examples for each of the types. And also we plan to take up some of the reactive intermediates like carbocations, carbanions, arynes, free radicals, carbenes and nitranes. The first type of organic reactions are called as substitution reactions. Substitution reactions are one type of reactions which the organic substrates undergo, and as the name suggests, here the substitution of an atom or a group by another atom or a group takes place. For example, reaction of methyl chloride with sodium hydroxide. Here the chloro group of the methyl chloride gets substituted by the hydroxy group, and from methyl chloride we get methanol as the product. So this is an example of a substitution reaction, and the substitution reactions are generally shown by saturated hydrocarbons like alkanes, haloalkanes and alcohols. But besides the saturated hydrocarbons, substitution reactions are observed in unsaturated aromatic compounds also, like benzene and its homologues. The other type of reactions are addition reactions. In addition reactions, 2 molecules combine to form one molecule. For example, addition of bromine to ethylene, as shown in this reaction, BR-BR adds to the double bond and forms a dibromo compound. In fact, this type of reaction is a detection reaction for alkenes. And as said, this is a characteristic of compounds with multiple bonds. The addition of different molecules can take place to double bond as well as triple bonds. The addition reactions can be classified into free radical, nucleophilic or electrophilic, depending upon whether the reacting species are free radicals or a nucleophile is participating or an electrophile is participating in the reaction. Then we have elimination reactions, and here obviously that the reaction leads to elimination of 2 atoms or groups from a molecule. And these reactions are opposite to addition reactions in the sense that in addition reactions we have addition of a molecule, and here we are losing the molecule. This leads to the formation of double or triple bonds. Again, this is a reverse case of the addition reactions, wherein the addition takes place to a double or a triple bond and leads to a saturated compound, and here we are getting formation of a double or a triple bond. The atoms or groups lost may be attached to same atom or different atoms of the molecule. For example, dehydrobromination in alkyl halides, where the HBr molecule gets eliminated from the same molecule, and the elimination can take place from 2 moieties also, then also we call it an elimination reaction. Rearrangement of reactions is actually the reorganization of the constituent parts in a molecule. These reactions are also very important organic reactions which lead to the formation of various types of products from the same molecule or from 2 different molecules also. For example, rearrangement of an alkene into another isomer is the rearrangement within the molecule, wherein we have one isomer of this alkene getting into the other one by means of rearrangement. The atom or groups migrate within the molecule to form the product. Lastly, we have oxidation and reduction reactions. Oxidation is defined as either the addition of oxygen atom to the molecule which is getting oxidized, or alternatively we define it by the removal of hydrogen. For example, combustion of alkanes to carbon dioxide and water, as is depicted in this reaction. And also there are a number of organic reactions wherein the functional group also changes. So depending upon which functional group is getting converted to which one, we categorize the reaction as oxidation or reduction. The groups are arranged in an increasing oxidation state by which the reaction is categorized. For example, in this case, alcohol gets converted to ketone, and in ketone the carbon is in the oxidized state as compared to alcohol. We call this reaction as oxidation reaction. Similarly, reductions involve addition of hydrogen or removal of oxygen, which is of course the reverse of oxidation. And in any reaction, simultaneously the moiety which is getting oxidized is the reducing agent, and vice versa. For example, reduction of carboxylic acid to aldehyde and alkenes to alkanes. So carboxylic acid gets reduced to aldehyde and alkenes get reduced to alkanes. You can see that there is addition of hydrogen, whereas in case of carboxylic acid getting converted to aldehyde, we have removal of oxygen. So the example of either removal of oxygen or addition of hydrogen, both of these lead to the reduction reactions. And as you would see in the future episodes, the change in the oxidation state of carbon during an oxidation or reduction reaction actually decides whether the reaction is undergoing an oxidation or a reduction. So this is broadly what and how many types of organic reactions we have. And you should remember that we talked in our previous episodes about the reaction mechanism. Reaction mechanism is actually the organization of organic reactions in a sequence of steps. The reactions do not undergo in one go. There may be some compound which gets formed in between during the course of reaction while it proceeds from reaction to the product. Such compounds which are formed in between the reaction and the product are called as intermediates. There are some of the reactive intermediates we would deal in the lecture: carbocations, carbanions, arynes, free radicals, carbenes and nitrines. And these intermediates are very important, the reason being that they are highly reactive. As a result, immediately after the formation of these intermediates, we get the formation of products. We start with the first intermediate, carbocations. Here you would recall the first episode of this lecture series wherein we talked about the formation of carbocations by means of heterolytic cleavage. So carbocations are produced as a result of heterolytic cleavage and they are called Lewis acids. Like we have an example of aluminium chloride as a Lewis acid. And the carbocations are obviously highly electron deficient, so they keep looking for an electron rich center and are also positively charged species. They are supposed to be very short lived and therefore are highly reactive. If we look into the structure of carbocations, we'll find that there are three R groups attached to the positively charged carbon. It has sp2 hybridization and therefore has a planar geometry. It is very important to talk about the stability of carbocations because the ease of formation of product will depend upon how stable the carbocation is. And the stability of carbocations is again decided by a number of factors which include the inductive effect, the resonance and the hyperconjugation. In the previous episodes we talked about inductive effect. We would like to just have a recall of the facts with inductive effect. Inductive effect is the introduction of polarity in a bond. It operates through sigma bonds, is a permanent effect. So let's look into the tertiary, secondary and primary carbocations. We know that a tertiary carbocation will have 3 alkyl groups attached to the carbon. The secondary will have 2 alkyl groups and a hydrogen, whereas a primary will have only 1 alkyl group attached to the C+. And of course, this is a methyl carbocation. The stability of carbocations will depend upon the number of alkyl groups. We are aware that the alkyl groups are electron donating, that is, these have a plus I effect. What will that mean is they will be trying to donate electrons to the C plus ion. As a result, they would be sharing this positive charge. So, if they are able to share this positive charge, ease this carbon by sharing the positive charge will make this carbocation more stable. And if we compare it to a secondary carbocation, we have only 2 alkyl groups which are able to share this positive charge, and primary has only 1, and the methyl carbocation does not have any. Obviously, the stability of carbocation will be tertiary more stable than secondary, it will be more stable than primary, and the methyl carbocation remains the least stable. Resonance is another factor which would affect the stability of carbocations. Here again we would recall what we did in our first episode, what exactly we mean by resonance. Resonance is also called a mesomeric effect, and it is actually the delocalization of pi electrons. We took the example earlier also of butadiene. The delocalization, as was said earlier also, may involve lone pair of electrons, as in the case of this ethylene chloride, where in this lone pair on chlorine participates in delocalization and we have a resonating structure. Therefore, on the basis of resonance also we can say that allyl carbocation is stabilized by resonance. This is the allyl carbocation where double bond participates and tries to ease this carbocation of the positive charge, and because of the shift of this double bond gets positively charged and shows resonance. The structure in general can be represented where delta plus is on both the carbon which are terminal methylene groups, and we say that the allyl carbocation is highly stable. Similar is the case of benzyl cation, wherein the double bonds of the aromatic ring, which are otherwise supposed to be highly stabilized and which are not supposed to be disturbing its aromatic structure, contribute to the delocalization of electrons, share this positive charge in the whole ring by means of the resonating structures which are shown here, and we say that benzyl cation is highly stabilized as a result of resonance. The carbocations are also stabilized by another factor called hyperconjugation. This is a kind of resonance, but this is extended to sigma bonds, and where the pi bonds or a p orbital can be involved. Therefore, it's a delocalization involving sigma bonds through sigma pi or sigma p overlap. The p orbitals in case of sigma p overlap may be filled or vacant also. If we look into the orbital diagram of a sigma pi overlap, we would see that the sigma orbitals can interact with the pi bond which is formed in between this C and this C. So, here though there won't be any bond formed, but still this will be augmenting to stabilize the carbocation which will be formed. If we look into the resonating structures of this, we will find that the hydrogen atom which is contributing to the resonance of this particular molecule with a pi bond does not have a bond in between. Therefore, we call it as no bond resonance. The bond between carbon and hydrogen does not exist in the contributing structures, and the way one hydrogen contributes to this structure, all the three hydrogens would do, and the number of resonating structures can be written. Similarly, the ethyl carbocation has resonating structures which can be written the way we wrote for a molecule which has pi bond. Here we have a ethyl carbocation which has again 3 protons to contribute to the resonating structures with the help of a no bond resonance. And though it is out of context, but it is good information to tell you that ethyl radical gets stabilized by the same means. So, it also by means of hyperconjugation or a no bond resonance gets stabilized by means of drawing a number of resonance structures. And if we look into the orbital diagram of ethyl carbocation, we would notice that 3 CH sigma bonds are there which are able to overlap with the vacant p orbital. So, this is though a weak overlap, but still the sigma bond is able to contribute to the stabilization of the carbocation which is there in the case of ethyl carbocation. Thus, we can say that the tertiary carbocation by means of hyperconjugation again will be more stable than a secondary, than a primary, which is again more stable than a primary methyl carbocation. You can see that in case of tertiary, we have 3 carbon atoms which are attached to 3 hydrogen atoms each. So, we have 3 plus 3 plus 3, 9 hydrogen atoms to contribute to the resonance structures. Obviously, it will make carbocations stable. So, hyperconjugation also plays an important role in the stabilization of carbocations. The other type of intermediate, that is carbanions. When carbon atom retains the shared pair of electrons during heterolysis, we get carbanions. You will again recall our first episode where we talked about heterolytic cleavage of bonds, wherein carbanions were generated when the shared pair totally went to one of the atoms of a molecule. These are called as Lewis bases also, and because the shared pair goes to that atom, so they are electron rich and would be seeking a positive center for attacking. Carbanions are very strong bases and therefore are very poor leaving groups. What exactly we mean by this is that carbanions are very strong bases. That means they are the ones who can donate their electron pair very easily, and it is very difficult because they have an electron pair with them. It becomes very difficult to detach them from the parent molecule, we have this carbon ion which is drawn here with an electron pair and a negative charge. Because we have 3 groups attached to this carbon, it is sp3 hybridized and has a pyramidal geometry. Besides these types of carbon ions, we have organolithium and organomagnesium compounds which act as carb anions. As you can see here, ethyl magnesium bromide is, we can write ethyl magnesium bromide like this also. You know that magnesium is electropositive, so a positive charge on magnesium and CH2 becomes partially negative. So this ethyl group acts as a carb anion and magnesium bromide as the positive part of it. You must have noticed these reactions while studying the Wittig reagents and other reactions. The stability of carb anions also depends on a number of factors. Because they are negatively charged, therefore these are destabilized by alkyl groups. You can understand, because the alkyl groups are electron donating, so instead of sharing the negative charge, they would all load this carbon atom with the pre-existing negative charge. As a result, the molecule would get destabilized, and as would be expected, the stability of carbon ions will be just the reverse of the stability of carbocations if we consider primary, secondary, tertiary carbon ions as compared to their carbocation counterparts. And in this case, just the reverse of carbocations, we have the methyl anion as the most stable because it has only 3 protons attached here. There is no group which will be electron pushing or which will have a plus I effect. Similar to the carbocations, carbon ions are also stabilized by resonance and inductive effects by the same way we did for carbocations. We come on to another types of intermediates which are called as carbenes. Carbenes are another type of intermediates which are neutral, divalent with a sextet in the outer orbital. That means their octet is not complete. There is no formal charge on the species, but availability of a lone pair makes it very reactive. And carbenes have the general structure R2C. Methylene, being the simplest carbene, is generated by heating diazomethane CH2N2. There are 2 types of carbenes because there is a lone pair in the outermost orbital. They have one pair of electrons which is arranged in 2 ways in the orbitals. Triplet carbenes have 2 unpaired electrons, one in each of the sp2 and a p orbital, while singlet carbene have a pair of electrons in a non-bonding sp2 orbital and have an empty p orbital. As can be seen here, this is a triplet carbene and this is a singlet carbene which is paired, whereas the triplet carbene has 2 electrons which are not paired. Generally, carbenes are more stable as triplets. Energy is gained by bringing the electron in the p orbital down into the sp2 orbital, which is insufficient to overcome the repulsion that exists between 2 electrons in a single orbital. So the triplet carbene is more stable because there is no repulsion between the 2 electrons which do not have the spins to repel each other, whereas in case of singlet carbenes the spins repel, therefore this is not very stable. Nitrines are another type of intermediates which are the nitrogen analogues of carbenes and are neutral species like carbenes in which the nitrogen atom has only a sextet of valence electrons. The nitrene has 2 bonds fewer than a normal amine and has 2 lone pairs, making 6 electrons in all. These are also highly electron deficient and therefore very reactive. The parent species NH is known as imidogen or azine or imine. Another type of intermediates observed in aromatic compounds are benzynes. Benzene has a triple bond between 2 adjacent carbon atoms of benzene as shown in this structure. The triple bond in benzynes makes the ring very strained because of the disturbance of the alternate double and single bond structure of a benzene molecule. And the benzene is produced during a nucleophilic substitution reaction in the presence of a very strong base such as NH2. You will be reading about this when we study the aromatic substitution reactions. For example, the reaction of chlorobenzene in presence of an amide gives rise to benzene and then the further products. Here is the benzyne intermediate which is involved. The last types of intermediates which we would deal in this presentation are free radicals. You would again recall the free radicals are produced as a result of homolytic cleavage. These are reactive short-lived intermediates when one or more unpaired electrons, and this is observed also in NO, NO2, sodium or the chlorine atom. The examples are shown here, and here is the way the radicals are produced. So, in this particular episode of the lecture series in organic reactions, we talked about the type of reactions which the organic molecules undergo, wherein we covered the substitution, addition, elimination, rearrangement, oxidation and reduction reactions. After that, we talked about very important species which are involved in the study of reaction mechanism of organic reactions. We call these as intermediates. We talked about the intermediates carbocations, carbanions, benzynes, carbenes, nitrines and free radicals. All these intermediates will be used and will be talked about when we talk about the different types of organic reactions of involving different functional groups. Thank you.
Bhatiyali is a song or a folk tradition that used to be sung by the boatmen. Their song usually had the philosophy of life, which were explained with the boat, the river, or the challenges that a boatman faces when he travels across the river. Rabindranath was deeply moved by this tradition, and he also composed a number of songs taking the influence of the tune and also, in some cases, the text. Examples of Rabindra Sangit based on Bhatiyali song would be songs like Ebar Tor Mora Gange Ban Esheche, Tomar Khola Hawa Lagiye Pale, or Gram Chhara Oi Rangamatiর পর। মন মাঝে শ্যামাল শ্যামাল ডুবলো তোরে ভব নদীর তুফান ভারী। মন মাঝে শ্যামাল শ্যামাল ডুবলো তোরে ভব নদীর তুফান ভারী। তোর হেলে পেলে না জল কি করবি বল কেমনে জমাবি পারি। মন মাঝি শ্যামাল শ্যামাল ডুবলো তোরি ভব নদীর তুফান ভারী। From this song came the song which is quite popular as a Rabindra Sangit now. এবার তোর মরা গাঙে বান এসেছে জয় মা বলে ভাষা তোরি। ওরে রে ওরে মাঝি কোথায় মাঝি প্রাণপণে ভাই ডাক দে আজি। তোরা সবাই মিলে বৈঠানে রে সবাই মিলে বৈঠানে রে খুলে ফেল সব দরাদরি। এবার তোর মরা গাঙে বান এসেছে জয় মা বলে ভাষা তোরি। Now we are going to discuss about the songs of Ram Prasad Sen or Ram Prasadi songs and its influence on Rabindra Sangit. Rabindranath's intention was to cater and to reach people, reach the mass of Bengal with his songs. As he took from the Baul songs, he also took tunes from Ramprasadi songs where the tunes were very simple, the lyrics were also simple. He composed songs mainly for the Swadeshi movement and the anti-Bengal partition movement, which were based on Ramprasadi tunes. আমি শুধু রইনু বাকি আমি শুধু রইনু বাকি যা ছিল তা গেল চলে রইল যা তাকে বল ফাঁকি। আমি শুধু রইনু বাকি আমি শুধু রইনু বাকি যা ছিল তা গেল চলে রইল যা তাকে বল ফাঁকি। আমি শুধু রইনু বাকি আমি শুধু রইনু বাকি। Hello friends. We have been discussing about the different influences of Bengali folk music on Rabindra Sangit. Rabindranath was particularly inspired by the Baul tradition and the Bhatiyali tradition, the Ramprasadi tradition also. Another very significant form of Bengali folk music was Kirtan. A number of songs of Rabindranath was based on this form. Kirtan has got two forms, one which was based on North Indian raga music with complex tals and meanings, used to be called Padavali Kirtan. Great composers like Joydev, Chandidas, Gyandas, etc. had written wonderful poems and composed wonderful music for Padavali Kirtan. Padavali Kirtan was also present in the urban sector. Many elite families would invite artists from different corners of Bengal to perform at their places. But for the village folk, the Padavali Kirtan was too difficult to understand. The intricate meanings, the difficult tunes and talas that were used for Padavali Kirtan was too difficult for them to understand and replicate. During the 1825 and 30, another form of Kirtan developed, and the main man behind this Kirtan was Madhusudhan Kirnar. He developed a form called Dhop Kirtan, which was very popular amongst the village folks. This Kirtan had easier and simpler texts with easier tunes. Rabindranath took inspiration from both these formats. From the pure form, Rabindranath wrote Bhanusingher Padavali. As I said, Padavali Kirtan is complex in nature. Not only the number of rags that were used and the tals, it has different phases of music. It had Katha, Doha, Akhor, Tuk and Chut. All these are different structures within the song. Rabindranath mainly concentrated on Dhop Kirtan or the popular Kirtan in composing his songs. If we take the example of a song called Ohe Jivano Ballabhu, here we see the nature of the structure is based on the Padavali Kirtan structure, where he uses the format of Akhor. Akhor is a stanza within the song which is supposed to be repeated by chorus voices. This stanza usually has got lines which are slightly modified from the main text or the main line that has already been sung by the main singer. The Akhor part of the song is usually a little faster in rhythm, and it is of course a chorus part, and when they end, the main singer takes over the song in its original rhythm. Let us now listen to this song, Ohe Jivano Ballabhu. This song will have different rhythms, and the faster rhythm is called the Akhor of the song, as it is called in Kirtan.
Ohe Jivano Ballabho, Ohe Sadhana Durlabho, Ohe Jivano Ballabho, Ami Mormer Kotha Antar Betha Kichui Nahi Kabo. শুধু জীবন মন চরণে দিন বুঝিয়া লহ সব দিন চরণ তলে কথা যা ছিল দিন চরণ তলে প্রাণের বোঝা বুঝেল দিন চরণ তলে শুধু জীবন মন চরণে দিন বুঝিয়া লহ সব যাব, পথের কাঁটা মানব না, আমি নীরবে যাব, হৃদয় ব্যথায় কাঁদব না, আমি নীরবে যাব, আমি নীরবে যাব, হৃদয়ে লয়ে প্রেম মূরতি তব, আমি কি আর পাব, ওহে জীবন বল্লভ। আমি সুখ দুঃখ সব তুচ্ছ করিনু, প্রিয় অপ্রিয় হে, তুমি নিজ হাতে যাহা সপিবে তাহা মাথায় তুলিয়া লব, মাথায় লব, আমি মাথায় লব, যাহা দেবে তাই মাথায় লব, সুখ দুঃখ তব পদ ধূলি বলে মাথায় লব, তুমি নিজ হাতে যাহা সপিবে তাহা মাথায় তুলিয়া লব, আমি কি আর পাব, ওহে জীবন বল্লভ। অপরাধ যদি করে থাকি পদে, না করো যদি ক্ষমা, তবে পরাণ প্রিয় দিও হে দিও বেদনা নব নব, দিও বেদনা, দিও বেদনা, যদি ভালো বোঝো দিও বেদনা, বিচারে যদি দোষী হই দিও বেদনা, তবে পরাণ প্রিয় দিও হে দিও বেদনা নব নব, আমি কি আর পাব, ওহে জীবন বল্লভ। তবু ফেলো না দূরে দিবস শেষে ডেকে নিও চরণে, তবু ফেলো না দূরে দিবস শেষে ডেকে নিও চরণে, ওগো তুমি ছাড়া কি আছে আমার, মৃত্যু আধার ভব, নিয় চরণে, নিয় চরণে, ভবের খেলা সারা হলে নিয় চরণে, দিন ফুরাইলে দীননাথ নিয় চরণে, ওগো তুমি ছাড়া কি আছে আমার, মৃত্যু আধার
Rabindranath was deeply moved by the Kirtan form of Bengali folk music. Not only the tunes, but he also started getting inspiration from the text and the inner messages of Kirtan songs. Later in 1909, when he is composing songs with the influence of Kirtan, he has already discarded the typical structure of Kirtan songs and he has started developing his own structures. An example can be given with a song called Ja Hariye Jay Ta Agle Boshe Roibo Koto Ar. This song typically sounds like a Rabindra Sangeet, but if listened to properly, you can make out that this has got the influence of Kirtan in it. Ja Hariye Jay Ta Agle Boshe Roibo Koto Ar in English would mean, how long can I hold to something which is already lost? I can't have more sleepless nights, my lord, and think through it. This essence of the song clearly indicates the pain of Radha for Krishna. But here, the meaning in the Rabindra Sangeet has changed a lot, and this is about a man and his inner emotions, about his beloved.
যা হারিয়ে যায় তা আগলে বসে রইব কত আর যা হারিয়ে যায় তা আগলে বসে রইব কত আর যা হারিয়ে যায় আর পারি জাগতে হে নাথ পারিনে রাত জাগতে হে নাথ ভাবতে অনিবার যা হারিয়ে যায় তা আগলে বসে রইব কত আর যা হারিয়ে আছে রাত্রি দিবস ধরে দুয়ার আমার বন্ধ করে আছে রাত্রি দিবস ধরে দুয়ার আমার বন্ধ করে আসতে যে চায় সন্দেহে তাই আসতে যে চায় সন্দেহে তাই তাড়াই বারে বার যা হারিয়ে যায় তা আগলে বসে রইব কত আর যা হারিয়ে যায় তাই তো কারো হয় না আশা আমার একা ঘরে তাই তো কারো হয় না আশা আমার একা ঘরে আনন্দময় ভুবন তোমার আনন্দময় ভুবন তোমার বাইরে খেলা করে তুমিও বুঝি পথ নাহি পাও এসে এসে ফিরে যাও তুমিও বুঝি পথ নাহি পাও এসে এসে
Hello friends. In this episode, we are going to discuss about the influence of the Baul songs in Robindra Sangeet. The Baul tradition is a significant part of the folk culture in Bengal. The followers of the Baul tradition are people who do not follow a rigid doctrine, do not have strict disciplines, and have a very liberal way of living. Evolving from the Buddhist tradition, the religious practices, Baul philosophy entered the Muslim and the Hindu cultures and finally got an independent religious form. And this was called the Bauls of Bengal. Music is an integral part of the Baul tradition. In the Middle Age Bengali literature, we also find examples and mentions of Baul followers. In texts like Sri Krishna Vijay, Chaitanya Charitamrita or Laili Majnu have mentioned the Baul followers. So, we can say that the Baul tradition was present during the Middle Age Bengal. A thing to be noted here is that the followers of the Baul tradition were usually people from the lower strata of the society. They were poor people who were victims of social oppression and discrimination. The philosophy of the Baul tradition used to flow from the Guru to the disciples through music. Baul music uses very simple Bengali words, but the inner meaning is very philosophical and complex. It is only possible for a true Baul to understand the deeper meanings of the Baul songs. Although the Baul songs were very catchy and anybody could sing those songs. As a result, the Baul songs got immense popularity among the village folks of Bengal. The philosophical messages within the Baul songs attracted Bengali intellectuals like Raja Ram Mohan Roy, Biharilal Chakraborty, Kangal Harinath Majumdar, etc. These were the people who shaped the intellectual world of Bengal during the early 19th century. Rabindranath was the next generation after these people. Rabindranath also found a lot of interest in Baul philosophy and the way these songs were sung. So, he also took Baul songs as a device to compose his own texts. Not only he took the Baul tunes, but he also took the Baul texts and the inner philosophies to compose his own songs. The first Baul-inspired song by Rabindranath was Amare ke nibi bhai shopite chai aponare. In English, this would mean, I am here to surrender myself. Is there anyone who wants to take me along with thee? This song was written around the year 1890 for a play named Bisharjan. The protagonist of this play was Joy Singho, a Rajput youth and the royal temple helper. This character was frustrated about the royal politics and the violence associated with those politics amongst siblings of the royal families. So he decided to go out and enjoy the free life outside the shackles of the royal families. When he comes out of the royal shackles, he sings this song. I want to surrender myself to the outer world. Is there anyone who wants to take me along with thee?
আমারে কে নিবি ভাই সপিতে চাই আপনারে আমারে আমারে কে নিবি ভাই সপিতে চাই আপনারে আমারে আমারে মন গলিয়ে আমারে মন গলিয়ে আজ ভুলিয়ে সঙ্গে তোদের নিয়ে যারে আমারে আমারে কে নিবি ভাই সপিতে চাই আপনারে আমারে তোরা কোন রূপের হাটে চলেছিস ভবের বাটে তোরা কোন রূপের হাটে চলেছিস ভবের বাটে পিছিয়ে আছি আমি আপন ভারে তোদের ওই হাসি খুশি তোদের ওই হাসি খুশি দিবানিশি দেখে মন কেমন করে আমারে আমারে কে নিবি ভাই সপিতে চাই আপনারে আমারে আমার এই বাধা টুটে নিয়ে যা লুটে পুটে পড়ে থাক মনের বোঝা ঘরের দ্বারে যেমন ওই এক নিমেষে যেমন ওই এক নিমেষে বন্যা এসে ভাসিয়ে নে যায় পারাবারে আমারে এত যে আনা গোনা কে আছে জানা শোনা কে আছে নাম ধরে মোর ডাকতে পারে যদি সে বারে কেসে যদি সে বারে কেসে দাঁড়ায় হেসে চিনতে পারে দেখে তারে আমারে আমারে কে নিবি ভাই সপিতে চাই আপনারে আমারে আমারে কে নিবি ভাই সপিতে চাই আপনারে আমারে
The village life of Bengal had its own soul and identity. The stories of the soil tillers, the farmers, the laborers, all these people formed the life of Bengal. And naturally, these became the subject of the Baul songs. Baul songs inherently had the normal people, the normal lifestyle of the village folk of Bengal. Rabindranath could identify with this simplicity because he understood that this simplicity was the heart of Indianness. He started composing songs with Baul tunes because he understood that if he wants to reach his texts and ideas to the millions of people of Bengal and in India, he will have to use the Baul songs. A number of songs were composed by Rabindranath for the anti-Bengal partition movement and the Swadeshi movement. These songs were catchy and the tunes were very similar, so people could easily take these songs up and sing. So Rabindranath managed to reach hundreds and millions of people with his song. The educated Bengali class would always consider Baul songs and other folk songs as the music for the illiterate and the underprivileged. Rabindranath broke this and he started himself composing songs with the Baul tunes. The songs looked and sounded very similar to other Baul songs. During that time, when Rabindranath was writing these songs, music had only two options. One was composing music with the traditional Indian ragas or composing music with the known Western tunes. Rabindranath realized that none of these two will work for mass upheaval. If he wanted to bring in a revolution with songs, he will have to compose songs with the Baul tunes or other folk tunes. Most of the Rabindranath's Baul songs were composed during the year 1907 and 1923. A thing to be noted here is that Rabindranath before 1907 did not really compose songs with the Baul tunes. So his message with the Baul song was pretty clear. He wanted to reach the millions of people of Bengal through his songs. Examples of songs which were written during this time were Tor apon jone chharbe tore, Nishidin bhorsha rakhish hobeই হবে, or songs like Jodi tor ডাক শুনে কেউ না আসে and ওদের বাঁধন যতই শক্ত হবে, etc. Rabindranath managed to reach millions of hearts with his song. One bright example of a Baul song written during this period is Roilo bole rakhle kare, a song which is written with very simple words and meaning which can easily cater to millions of people, educated and undereducated both. A rough translation of this song would be something like this. To whom are you fascinated and wish to keep? When do you hope to see your orders to be carried? Your pulling and hauling shall not last. Only those shall last who deserves to. You are free to do whatever you wish to do. Apply force as brute or kind. It is him who has to tolerate all the pain. Universal endurance is what he endures. Lots of money you have to spare. Lots of bindings and obligations. Many a horse, many tuskers. You may possess a lot on this world. You hope to see what you wish. You think you drive the world? Open your eyes. All on a sudden you will find all impossible can come up. Let us now listen to this song, Roilo bole rakhle kare.
রইল বলে রাখলে কারে হুকুম তোমার ফলবে কবে তোমার টানা টানে টিকবে না ভাই রবার যেটা সেটাই রবে রইল বলে রাখলে কারে হুকুম তোমার ফলবে কবে তোমার টানা টানে টিকবে না ভাই রবার যেটা সেটাই রবে রইল বলে রাখলে কারে যা খুশি তাই করতে পারো গায়ের জোরে রাখো মারো যা খুশি তাই করতে পারো, গায়ের জোরে রাখো মারো। যার গায়ে সব ব্যথা বাজে, যার গায়ে সব ব্যথা বাজে, তিনি যা সন সেটাই সবে রইল বলে রাখলে কারে। অনেক তোমার টাকা কড়ি, অনেক দড়া অনেক দড়ি, অনেক অশ্ব অনেক কড়ি, অনেক তোমার আছে ভবে। অনেক তোমার টাকা কড়ি, অনেক দড়া অনেক দড়ি, অনেক অশ্ব অনেক কড়ি, অনেক তোমার আছে ভবে। ভাবছো হবে তুমি যা চাও, জগৎটাকে তুমি না চাও। ভাবছো হবে তুমি যা চাও, জগৎটাকে তুমি না চাও। দেখবে হঠাৎ নয়ন খুলে, দেখবে হঠাৎ নয়ন খুলে, হয় না যেটা সেটাও হবে রইল বলে রাখলে কারে। হুকুম তোমার ফলবে কবে, তোমার টানা টানে টেকবে না ভাই। রবার যেটা সেটাই রবে রইল বলে রাখলে কারে।
This song was part of the play Prayashchitta, which was published in the year 1911. This song directly talks about the rebel against the British oppressive rule. It had the seed of the anti-British revolution, which will inspire the people to dare against the apparently invincible power with fearless determination. On the other hand, Rabindranath also wrote songs for the nationalism movement, but these songs were not meant for mass movement. These songs were very individualist in nature and is not of the same character as we explained in the previous song. A song like Je Tomaye Chhade Chhaduk Ami Tomaye Chhadbo Na Ma, which in English would mean that let whoever leave you, mother, I won't leave you till the end of my life. Here, mother is referred to the motherland, which is India in this case. It talks about the person's inner realization that he should be with the motherland, even if she is poor, even if she cannot give food to his sons or children, but he should stay with his mother. Let us now listen to this song, Je Tomaye Chhade Chhaduk Ami Tomaye Chhadbo Na Ma.
যে তোমায় ছাড়ে ছাড়ুক আমি তোমায় ছাড়বো না মা, যে তোমায় ছাড়ে ছাড়ুক আমি তোমায় ছাড়বো না মা, যে তোমায় ছাড়ে ছাড়ুক। আমি তোমার চরণ মাগো, আমি তোমার চরণ করব শরণ, আর কারো ধার ধারব না মা, আর কারো ধার ধারব না মা, যে তোমায় ছাড়ে ছাড়ুক আমি তোমায় ছাড়ব না মা, যে তোমায় ছাড়ে ছাড়ুক। কে বলে তোর দরিদ্র ঘর, হৃদয়ে তোর রতন রাশি, আমি জানি গো তার মূল্য জানি, জানি গো তার মূল্য জানি, পরের আদর কাড়ব না মা, পরের আদর কাড়ব না মা, যে তোমায় ছাড়ে ছাড়ুক আমি তোমায় ছাড়ব না মা, যে তোমায় ছাড়ে ছাড়ুক। মানে আসে দেশ বিদেশে, যে মরে সে মরুক ঘুরে। তোমার ছেঁড়া কাঁথা আছে পাতা, ছেঁড়া কাঁথা আছে পাতা, ভুলতে সে যে পারবো না মা, ভুলতে সে যে পারবো না মা। যে তোমায় ছাড়ে ছাড়ো আমি তোমায় ছাড়বো না মা, যে তোমায় ছাড়ে ছাড়ো আমি তোমায় ছাড়বো না মা, যে তোমায় ছাড়ে ছাড়ো।
The song truly inspires a person to fall in love with his motherland. The thing to be noticed here is that the philosophy of Baul tradition is wonderfully explored in this song.
ধনে মানে লোকের টানে ভুলিয়ে নিতে চায় যে আমায়, ওমা ভয় যে জাগে শিয়ার বাগে, ভয় যে জাগে শিয়ার বাগে, কারো কাছে হারবো না মা, কারো কাছে হারবো না মা। যে তোমায় ছাড়ে ছাড়ো আমি তোমায় ছাড়বো না মা, যে তোমায় ছাড়ে ছাড়ো আমি তোমায় ছাড়বো না মা, যে তোমায় ছাড়ে ছাড়ো।
the best part about this initiative is that it has made a global class into being. So in this global class, the students can log in at any part of the day or time and make use of the storehouse of knowledge. And this limit of the subjects is endless, ranging from history to political science to sociology to yoga to music and what not. And what I want to say is that this is not only helping the students but also the teachers, because they can also listen to these lectures and improve their own teaching style and also judge as to what all topics can be covered. Then also these days various new courses are being introduced in various universities, and it is not possible to have ready-made textbooks for these courses. So through these lectures, the students can be provided very valuable resource material, and that too at any part of the day or time when they want to access it. So truly this is an example of how a global class has come into being, and how not only the students but in the entire audience, it can be even a housewife, it can be even an upcoming youngster who wants to improve his knowledge, it can also be a professional who wants to gain more access to knowledge.
CEC व DD व्यास चैनल योग एवं अन्य जो विषय हैं शिक्षा के क्षेत्र में क्रांति लाने का कार्य कर रहे हैं। जिस प्रकार से बहुत सारे विद्यार्थी यूनिवर्सिटीज़ में नहीं पढ़ सकते या किसी प्रकार का वो ऑफलाइन प्रैक्टिस नहीं कर सकते, लेक्चर अटेंड नहीं कर सकते, वो CEC के माध्यम से DD व्यास चैनल के माध्यम से YouTube पे अपने सब्जेक्ट्स की तैयारी कर सकते हैं। वो YouTube पे उनकी तैयारी करके बहुत सारे जो विद्यार्थी हैं उन्होंने नेट JRF पास किया है और बहुत सारे अपने विषय में पारंगत हो रहे हैं। जो डिस्टेंस एजुकेशन से पढ़ रहे हैं उनके लिए CEC UGC बहुत बेनिफिशियल है। तो मैं आज साधुवाद और धन्यवाद देना चाहता हूँ CEC और UGC दोनों को कि इस तरह की योग की जो शिक्षा के क्षेत्र में जो क्रांति लाने का कार्य किया है, इस हायर एजुकेशन चैनल ने इस प्रकार का प्रयास और भी बढ़ाना चाहिए ताकि सभी लोग लाभान्वित हो सकें।
you can do for phenolic function group is you have to take the compound in a test tube, then add water or alcohol to make a solution, shake it well and then add alcoholic or neutral ferric chloride solution and then see the observation. If there is a appearance of violet color, then phenolic function group is there, phenolic compound may be there. If violet blue color is there, resorcinol compound may be there, but please mind it, these are not confirmatory, but confirmation for the functional group. If white PPT slowly changes to pink, alpha naphthol may be there, or green color is appearing over there, then beta naphthol may be there. How the reaction proceed? You can see with the phenolic compound, phenol with FeCl3, you will get a addition product, and you can see the color with phenol, it will be violet color. Another test to detect the phenolic function group in the given organic compound is naphthalene test. This is phthalene test. You have to take the organic compound in a test tube, then you need to add phthalic anhydride solution and 2 drops of concentrated H2SO4 solution. Heat it gently because you are adding H2SO4 to the solution until the mixture fuses. Cool and pour in a beaker containing very dilute NaOH solution. If pink color appears on adding NaOH solution, then phenolic function group may be there. If green color appear, then alpha naphthol. If bluish green color appear, then beta naphthol. And you can see how the reaction proceed for resorcinol. Another test to detect the phenolic function group in the given organic compound is the Lieberman test. You have to take the organic compound in a test tube, then add concentrated H2SO4, then 2 crystals of sodium nitrite, heat it gently, dilute it with water and then add small amount of 20% NaOH solution. If red color appear, then you have to add the excess solution of NaOH, then you will see bluish green color which shows the presence of phenolic compound in the given organic compound. This is the Lieberman test. How to proceed? Now you can see the reaction. It is start with phenol. Now when you added HNO2, you will get a nitroso compound, and when you will add the phenol, you will get a indophenol which is blue in color, and when you add NaOH, the color will changes from blue to red. So this is how you can confirm the phenol compound in the given organic compound. When you have confirmed about the phenolic function group, you can use any test which I have discussed in last slides. If aldehydic or ketonic compound is there, we can say collectively carbonyl compound. So how can you detect the presence of carbonyl function group in given organic compound? You can go for the test 2,4-DNP test. What is 2,4-DNP? 2,4-DNP reagent is 2,4-dinitrophenylhydrazine, and the product you will obtain with the reaction of given organic compound will be 2,4-dinitrophenylhydrazone. So please clear this in your mind that what is the name of the reagent and what is the name of the product. This is also called 2,4-DNP test. How will you proceed for this test to detect the carbonyl compound? To check the possibility of carbonyl compound in given organic compound, you need to proceed with this test. You have to take the given organic compound in a test tube, a small amount always suggested to take. Then you need to add the freshly prepared reagent, because if you keep on putting this reagent, it may faint or the reactivity will be just slow. After adding the reagent 2,4-dinitrophenylhydrazine, you have to shake it well to make the reaction fast. Then if there is a yellow or orange red crystalline precipitate, carbonyl group may be there, and you know carbonyl group may be aldehyde or carbonyl group may be ketone. This is the reaction. You can see the carbonyl group C double bond O, and which is reacting here 2,4-dinitrophenylhydrazine, and then what is the product? 2,4-dinitrophenylhydrazone, which is of orange or yellow PPT.
If you have studied about the reaction, about the chemical characteristic property of carbonyl group, it gives nucleophilic addition reaction. So, here nitrogen with lone pair of electron will attack to the carbonyl carbon, which is electrophilic in nature, and will give you the product. It is a very fast reaction. Whenever you ask to locate, to identify the carbonyl group in the given organic compound, this is the first most test advised to do. If this test comes out positive, then either aldehyde may be there or ketonic may be there. If the test comes out negative, means there is no yellow color, there is no orange color, means carbonyl group is absent in the given organic compound. But if on addition of 2,4-DNP reagent, you will get orange or yellow or dark red color PPT, there may be a possibility of either aldehyde or ketone. So, you need to you have to distinguish now how to distinguish whether the carbonyl group is aldehyde or ketone. So, first of all we can do the test for aldehyde. The first test is Schiff test. Schiff is the name of the scientist. You have to take the given organic compound in a test tube, a small compound, then you need to add the Schiff reagent. You have to shake it well. If violet color immediately develops, the aldehydic may be aliphatic, means the Schiff test is given by only aldehydic function group, not by the ketone. So, Schiff test is coming out positive, it means the given carbonyl compound is aldehydic in nature, not in ketone. On the contrary, we can also say if Schiff test comes out positive, ketonic function group is absent, however, carbonyl function group is there. So, violet color immediately develops, it shows that aliphatic aldehydic group may be there. We have already told you about detail how can you check that the given organic compound is aliphatic or aromatic. With the help of ignition test, you have to take the small amount of organic compound in a spatula, in a iron spatula, and directly ignite on the burner. If sooty flame comes out, then the nature of the organic compound will be aromatic. Possibility is there, not confirmation. If non-sooty flame is there, then the compound nature will be aliphatic. So, if immediately color violet color develops, aliphatic aldehyde, and if pink color slowly develops, means the possibility of aldehyde is aromatic. This is the test, this is the reaction for Schiff base reagent. You can see the structure of Schiff base, and when it reacts with aldehydic function group, here you can see the master formula of aldehyde RCHO, and Schiff base reagent you can also see 3 substituted benzene ring is attached to the center carbon. How the reaction proceed, you can also see there is a addition reaction with the sulfonic group along with the aldehydic group, and this test will show the possibility of aldehydic group with the presence of magenta color in this solution, or it may be precipitate also. Another test to distinguish between whether the carbonyl function group is aldehyde or ketone is tolerance test. We can also say it like silver mirror test. How to proceed this test? You have to take the given organic compound in a test tube. I again repeatedly saying you need to take the small compound, smallest compound, a pinch of the organic compound in a test tube. If it is liquid, then you have to take 2-3 drops of the given organic compound in a test tube. Now, you have to add the freshly prepared tolerance reagent. What is tolerance reagent? It is ammonical silver nitrate solution. How much amount you need to add? You need to add the small amount. Heat it on a boiling water bath. What is boiling water bath? You have to take a water bath in which water is there, and you have to already started to boil it. Then keep your test tube in the water bath to heat it. If silver mirror is formed on the inner side of the test tube, the carbonyl group will be aldehydic functional group, not the ketone. So, if the test comes out positive, whether we talk about Schiff base test, whether we talk about tolerance test, we can say the carbonyl group will be aldehydic functional group, and the negative test, either we can do shift test or tolerance test, then ketonic functional group may be there. These are the reactions involved in the tolerance test or silver mirror test. In the first reaction, you can see silver nitrate when added with the sodium hydroxide, you will get the precipitate of silver oxide Ag2O. This silver oxide when treated with ammonia, you will get silver ammonical nitrate, alkaline silver ammonical nitrate solution. This is your tolerance reagent. You can prepare this in the lab as well as you can ask to the lab staff to prepare it to save your time. Now, you have to react this silver ammonical nitrate or tolerance reagent with the given aldehydic compound, and you can see how the reaction proceed. It will gives you precipitate of silver 2 Ag if you can see, and this aldehydic group with the tolerance reagent, this aldehydic group will oxidize by the tolerance reagent. Tolerance reagent is a strong oxidizing agent and it will convert aldehydic group to carboxylic group, or we can say it oxidizes aldehyde to carboxylic group and itself get reduced from silver ammonical nitrate to silver. And the silver you can see in the sides, inner sides of this test tube, silver mirror you can observe. So, this is the test for conformation of aldehyde group, and these are the reaction. And in the figure you can also see how the silver mirror appearance in the test tube, you can compare. You can also check the possibility of aldehyde group which is alpha beta unsaturated in nature. You can see here also this aldehyde group get converted into carboxylic group, salt of carboxylic group. So, you can check also these kind of aldehyde group in the given organic compound. Another test to check the possibility of aldehyde group as a carbonyl group, you can check with the Fehling solution test. It is also a name of the scientist. So, first of all you need to take care that what is Fehling solution. Fehling solution is the mixture of Fehling solution A and Fehling solution B. You have to mix the equal amount of Fehling solution A and Fehling solution B in a different test tube, because on keep standing it get reduced or it get oxidized or it get decomposed. So, whenever you need to use the Fehling solution, you need to prepare immediately. You need not to use the preserved Fehling solution, right. So, what is Fehling solution A? It is nothing but a solution of copper sulphate. What is Fehling solution B? It is alkaline solution of sodium potassium tartrate, or we can also say Rochelle salt plus NaOH, and you can see the structure of Rochelle salt. So, you have to mix both the Fehling solution A and Fehling solution B in equal amount. Suppose you are taking Fehling solution 2 drops of Fehling solution A. So, you need to add 2 drops of Fehling solution B for the detection of aldehyde group in the given organic compound, right. So, I have already told you, you have to prepare the Fehling solution in a different test tube. Now, add given organic compound to the Fehling solution and heat it gently. Heat it gently, wherever I mention this heat it gently means please heat it indirectly with the help of water bath, do not heat it directly. The formation of red precipitate of cuprous oxide will shows the presence of aldehydic functional group in the given organic compound. And here you can see the reaction. The first reaction shows the formation of Fehling solution. You can also see what is Fehling solution. It is deep blue color complex. It is a complex. How this complex form? You have to take the Fehling solution A, which is copper sulphate, along with sodium hydroxide, then sodium potassium tartrate or Rochelle salt, and you will get the complex. When this Fehling solution is added to the given organic compound, which is actually aldehydic in nature, you will get the cuprous oxide red precipitate. So, this is how, and here again you can notice that the aldehydic compound get oxidized to carboxylic functional group. So, Fehling solution is also a oxidizing agent. Another test to confirm whether the carbonyl group is aldehyde or ketone. Why I am telling you these numerous tests? Because you can check with the possibility of aldehyde group either with the test, either tolerance test or Schiff base test or Fehling test or Benedict test, whichever is easily available in your lab. But you must aware all kind of tests. In absence of the unavailability of a reagent, you can go for the another test. So, what is the Benedict test? Benedict is also a scientist name. You have to take the Benedict reagent. How can you prepare a Benedict reagent? You can also prepare yourself or you can ask to the lab staff. What you need to do? You have to take the copper sulfate pentahydrate, sodium carbonate and sodium citrate in a small amount, mix all these reagent in a test tube. In a separate test tube, you will get a Benedict reagent. So, how will you proceed? First of all, prepare a Benedict reagent or you can ask to the lab staff and then add the given organic compound to it. Formation of red precipitate of cuprous oxide shows the presence of aldehyde group. Here you can see when you mix all the what is the reagent? Here you can see the cupric ions are there in the Benedict reagent. These cupric ion get oxidize aldehyde group to the carboxylic acid, right, and itself get reduced to the cuprous oxide, which is actually brick red precipitate, brick red in color. So, from all these tests you can confirm the presence of aldehydic functional group. Test for ketone. Please take this note that how this particular test with the sodium nitroprusside is only for a special kind of ketone, methyl ketone. What is that? CH3CO. We cannot apply this test to all kind of ketones. So, how can we proceed for the ketonic functional group when it is methyl ketones are there? You have to take the given organic compound in a test tube, a pinch, then you need to add sodium nitroprusside solution from the shelf and then add 2 drops of sodium hydroxide, wine red color may be there or orange red color may be there, depend upon the particular ketonic compound. Okay. If this color, these kind of color develops, then ketonic functional group may be there. How the reaction proceed? You can see first of all the base NaOH hydroxide ion will abstract a proton from the ketone. Formation of a carbanion takes place in the first reaction. OH is what? It is alkaline in nature. It has a tendency to abstract a proton from the ketone and this will react with nitroprusside. What is that? Fe cyanide 5 and NO whole 2 minus, valency 2 minus. It will react with given methyl ketone to give a complex molecule, right, and you will get a red color. This red color shows the presence of ketonic functional group. Now, the question arises, we have learned so many tests for carbonyl functional group. How to proceed? Simply, first of all, if you have to check the possibility of carbonyl functional group. If carbonyl functional group is there, you have to check with the 2,4-DNP test. If this test comes out positive, you have to distinguish either the given functional group is aldehyde or ketone with the help of tolerance test. Either test you can do. If any test comes out positive, Fehling solution test, Schiff base test or Benedict test or tolerance test, it means the given carbonyl group is aldehyde group, and please take this note, it automatically showed that ketonic functional group is not there. So, this is how you can check the possibility of which kind of carbonyl group is there, whether it is ketonic or whether it is aldehydic. And if there is a particular kind of ketones, you can check with the sodium nitroprusside solution. Now, test for esters. What are esters? You know, RCOOR, acyl group along with the alkoxy group or aryloxy group. first test you can do phenolphthalein test. What you need to do for that? You need to dissolve the given organic compound in ethyl alcohol and then add a drop of phenolphthalein, 2 drops of very dilute NaOH solution, heat it on a boiling water bath. If pink color disappear, it means ester compound may be there. So, you have to check the when you want to check the possibility of ester compound, this is the confirmatory test for esters. Here you can see how the color changes from in acidic solution. You can see the acidic in acidic medium, this is the structure and this will be colorless in nature, and in base alkaline medium the color will be pink. How the structure varies you can see, right. The proton is abstracted in the acidic medium by the base, and in the next step you can see this is a protonated water molecule with the anion which shows the pink color in the base. Another test to confirm the presence of esters are hydroxamic test. How to proceed? You need to take the given organic compound in a test tube, then add hydroxylamine hydrochloride solution. This is the name of reagent in ethanol. How to prepare this solution? How to prepare this reagent? You can prepare in water, you can prepare in any solvent, but here you are preparing this reagent in ethanol, and you have to add in the given organic compound. Then made alkaline. How can you make alkaline the given organic compound? By the addition of NaOH, but here you are advisable to take the 10% NaOH. How can you prepare 10% NaOH? Simply you need to dissolve 10 grams of NaOH pellets into 100 ml of distilled water. Fine. So, you can prepare this NaOH solution then and there when it is required. Do not take it preserved, right. The reaction will be fast, the color will be prominent. This mixture then heated to boiling, then cool the solution. Again, whenever you heat the compound with the another reagent, you are advisable to heat it in a boiling water bath. Then cool the solution at the room temperature and then acidified with the help of addition of dilute HCl and 1-2 drops of ferric chloride. So, this is how you need to proceed for the hydroxamic test. Formation of characteristic odor depends upon the kind of ester compound, right. So, this is the confirmatory test. How can you perform for the esters, and these are the reactions. First of all, you can see the ester RCOOR, acyl group attached with the alkoxy group or aryl oxy group. NH2OH HCl, what is this? This is a hydroxylamine hydrochloride. Then you had added NaOH solution. First of all, you will get the sodium hydroxylamine, right. Then you have added HCl and FeCl3. With the addition of FeCl3, you will get a complex. And which kind of complex? What should be the structure? You can see in the structure. This is the hydroxylamic acid complex. So, this kind of a structure will show the presence of ester in the given functional group. Another important test you can go for the confirmation of esters are hydrolysis of ester. You know what are esters? Esters are the derivative of carboxylic acid. So, here you can simply do the hydrolysis of ester. If you have studied about the derivatives of carboxylic acid, what are the derivatives of carboxylic acid? These are amide, these are esters, these are anhydride, these are acid chloride. So, if you have studied about the hydrolysis of carboxylic acid derivatives, every derivative of carboxylic acid in turn will give you the carboxylic acid. And how the reaction proceed, whether we talk about carboxylic acid or whether we talk about the derivative of carboxylic acid, these will give the nucleophilic substitution reaction. Mainly when we talk about the main reaction of carboxylic acid and derivative of carboxylic acid. How the reaction proceed? The reaction can be proceed in the presence of acid. We can say it is acid catalyzed nucleophilic substitution reaction. Or base catalyzed, simply if we are taking any alkaline medium, suppose we are taking NaOH, then we can say it will be base catalyzed hydrolysis of carboxylic acid derivatives. So, whether we talk about any kind of derivative of carboxylic acid, we will get back carboxylic acid. Thank you so much.